It's 2010, I'm 7 and I'm playing GTA San Andreas on the PS2 on a nice Sunday morning. My dad walks in and tells me it's time for me to get a haircut. Now if you watched my previous video, you would know that I grew up in a Balkan household, which means that until I was probably 10, I got my haircut at home. By my dad, who knows nothing about haircuts. He would set up his salon in the bathroom with newspapers all over the floor, and the only haircut you could get was something like this. So looking like an egg was inevitable. But I never really cared how I look like, I just never liked the process of getting my haircut because anything involving Balkan parents means stress. So they would trick me with lies such as that if I don't cut my hair, I would go bald. And since I didn't want to go bald at the age of 7, I followed my dad into the bathroom. And if looking like an egg after him cutting my hair was the norm at that point, when he cut my hair that day he somehow went even shorter, which meant that I looked like I was battling cancer. So as I look myself in the mirror, I realized that my life is practically over. You have to understand that it was my first year of school ever and I was trying to be the man in my class. So looking like a monkey didn't contribute to that. At all. I also had big ears. So the only logical thing to do was, of course, to start crying, and it wasn't one of those 5-minute cries because something doesn't go your way. I was crying for the rest of the day, fell asleep because I couldn't open my eyes anymore, and continued to cry the next morning. But here's the problem. It was Monday all of a sudden, and your hair doesn't grow back in one night. So I had this idea of not going to school, which I thought was brilliant. Not so brilliant in my mother's eyes. She had to literally drag me out of her house and I was crying every single second of our journey to school. I'm pretty sure I even refused to walk, so to make things worse, that resulted in me being late. When we arrived to school, I of course couldn't enter my classroom, mostly because I really didn't want to and also because I was still crying. So my mom took me to the bathroom, washed my face, opened the classroom door, pushed me inside and left. Thanks, Mom. So there I was, standing in front of everyone with my head looking like it's about to explode because it was so red, and with my eyes swollen from crying for the past 24 hours. I ignored everyone staring at me, sat on my chair, and continued battling with myself to not burst out crying. I remember I was just looking at the floor, and from time to time I would check if anyone is staring at me and was just praying no one says anything about my hair. There was me and like 7 other kids sitting at the same table, and there was a girl sitting across me. I looked at her. She looked at me. I already knew this bitch was about to say something, so I kept looking at her and I saw a grin appear on her face. My heart started racing as the smile on her face was getting bigger and bigger. This bitch was about to ruin my legacy that I've worked on for the past 6 months. She opened her mouth and said,
Baldy.
Baldy. Baldy. I still feel pain from that, and that's one of the biggest reasons why today I'm getting a haircut every 2 weeks. I've experienced the feeling of a fresh cut for the first time almost 2 years ago, thanks to my barber, Iggy. Hi, give me a discount. But you know what? I've just realized something. You don't need a fresh haircut when you were a kid. You don't have to look like you're the man, because if you do, you're probably gonna turn into a douchebag and no one likes those. What I've just said may not be based on any research, but please name a kid who was rocking a mohawk and didn't turn into a douchebag. Exactly, you can't. So my future children, if you're watching this, you bet I'm shaving your head.